It's time for Market Explainer, your number one business news podcast. Hosted by Danny and the big man. And it starts right now.
You come from a land without White Castles, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Didn't even know what White Castles were until, what was the movie So-and-so Goes
Harold
to White
and
Castle?
Kumar Go to White
Yes,
Castle.
Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
So I'm Indian, and I have a Korean friend, and we went to see that movie when it came out. Weird thing, some of my older cousins came, made us feel extremely uncomfortable because there's a lot of weird stuff in that movie. And in my entire life going to movies, no one ever asked me for ID for a rated R movie. This is the first time that happened. And my sister and my cousin and her husband and my other cousin in there, everybody's there. And so they're like, oh, it's rated R? And this is the first time someone's like, I'll buy the ticket for him. And I was like, oh, God, why is this happening to me? So White Castle is hiring, or they're buying another 100 robots to flip burgers. Now, this is not the first time that White Castle has done this. And for those of you unfamiliar with White Castle, I'm from the Midwest. I think White Castle started in Chicago. It's still one of the only burger chains that is privately owned.
Right.
They make these sliders. They did a lot of really innovative stuff in the post depression that really created what is now an American classic, the hamburger. Hey, they created this thing, basically.
Yeah, it was what we now know as sliders. That White Castle called burgers, right?
Yeah.
And then they become known as sliders. They're mini burgers, right? Yeah. That's what they are.
And they created the genre of burgers. They took it. Anyways, I love White Castle in theory, but it's one of those things where you have to be in a very particular mood. You have to have a certain amount of, you have to have drank, you have to have that binge weekend, right? Where you have binged the whole weekend, right? And you've, like, you started off the weekend knowing I'm parking my car somewhere and someone has to drive because I'm not. It's a choice that you make where you've come to terms with how much you hate yourself, right?
That is so great. I've never heard it explained quite that way. But again, I've only experienced White Castle, but in other places. Like, you know what I mean? Flown to other places that had it.
Yeah,
you
so
have to try something like that that's that iconic.
It's just like when people come to Austin and they go, oh my gosh, we have In-N-Out. I'm going to go to In-N-Out. I'm like, you're a garbage person.
No. Yeah, okay, you must be from California. Go to In-N-Out.
If you're going to California, go to In-N-Out. But when I saw that they were doing this, the reason I like this story is they call this thing Flippy 2. That's the name of these robots.
That all by itself is enough for me to cover this story. It's called the Flippy 2. It's a robot that flips burgers called the Flippy 2. Now, do they reference it? See, here's what I want to know. Do the people that work with this robot, like the people that work in White Castle at any given time, are they, because if you've ever worked in an industry that uses any kind of robot on a regular basis, like things that and I don't care if it's back in the machine days when it was just machines, local workers have names for the machines they work with. It's just a thing. You name your cars, you name the machines you work with. We all have a name. Everybody's in on it. So do the people that work at White Castle, do they call it Flippy? Are they like, Flippy, you're on the fritz a little bit today. I need you to straighten up.
So I personally, when I go through the self-checkout in the little machine, the machine says, thank you for shopping with us. I say, you're welcome. I'll be back. Because when the machine revolution comes, I want the machines to know that I was on their side. Okay?
Oh, that's funny.
When the machine revolution comes, the rest of you hitting your television, whatever, you guys are screwed. I was always nice to the machines.
Look, this is not necessarily, people have talked forever, okay, we're going to replace all, fast food workers with robots and whatever. And really, I don't think this is that, and here's why. Years ago, and we're talking years, decades ago when I was young.
Right.
I worked in a pharmacy, and in a pharmacy, back then, you got a prescription for a medication. You went to the shelf, you grabbed it off the shelf, you counted to 30, you put it in a bottle, right? So on and so forth. And when I was just about to get out of the pharmacy industry, Walgreens at the time started doing what they automated filling machines
Yeah.
for basically major medications. Because in a pharmacy, 90% of what you fill in a day is the same 150 prescriptions: heart medicines, antibiotics, whatever.
Right.
Zoloft,
Zoloft.
Right.
That's if you're in Los Angeles.
And what we found out was we still actually needed the same amount of staff or more, because what that machine did in filling those prescriptions was allow them to get more work out of you, because some of your work was already done. So you did all the specialty stuff. That's all White Castle wants. They're able to now push more burgers out of the same restaurant with the same staff with this kind of thing.
The last time and I'm just going to say this is a, TMI. If I'm gonna eat White Castle, I have to be within 2 miles of an acceptable bathroom. That's all I'm saying, right? That stuff shoots through me like a laser on Star Wars. All right.
Okay. It's like Taco Bell for a lot of. That's a comedian joke about Taco Bell a lot.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So it's just something that you only, and I don't drink that much, very rarely. So that's the only time where this is appropriate. When that movie came out, I remember me and my buddies there's a White Castle by college. We would go there. We'd get a crave case. We would all sit down and we would nosh.
What's a crave case?
The crave case in the movie is 100 burgers, but in reality it's 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they exaggerated in the movie a little bit, but all right.
Well,
okay.
I think maybe at some point in time they were doing 100, but I think that if you go order one now, it's 30. Comes in a little briefcase. It's insane.
Hey, good for them though, for like figuring out some kind of. But again, they're mini burgers, right? So you and a friend could probably crush 20
Not
of these
really,
easy,
though.
right?
Me and a friend, it's a lot of bread. So me and a friend
can
crush. I can eat 3 of them. That's kind of where I max out, right? 3 or 4.
Okay.
Right.
When I thought that was kind of their normal meal. It was like 4 like mini burgers and like
Regardless,
whatever.
The reason I thought this story was very pertinent was we're in the midst of there's a lot of workers who are like, we're revolting. We're not going to work. The anti-work subreddit is on fire, right?
Oh, yeah.
And people from my perspective of the world and economics and this kind of thing goes, oh, they'll raise their minimum hourly wages up to a certain point. But after that certain point, they're replacing you with a robot because it's become inexpensive. Because the equilibrium, because they'll pay us $17 an hour, but at $18 an hour, like you said, it just means here's what's going to happen. Instead of 10 people needing to run a McDonald's at 3 o'clock to hit the drive-thru, it's going to be 3. One guy to watch the machines, and the other guy to take your credit card, another guy to give you the food. Because they'll build in conveyor belts.
You become the face, right? The robot's cooking all the food. You're handing out bags of food to become the face.
And then I don't have to talk to an intercom. I roll up. I click a touch screen. And hey, let me tell you something. I cannot wait for that future. I don't want to talk to someone making $17, $16 an hour to flip burgers that hates their life, doesn't want to be here. What did you say? You don't want pickles? So when I get the burger, it has extra pickles, and I said no pickles.
So, and that's where, and this is what people don't understand. Even as an employee, you need to understand business, because what you said is very important when it comes to a standpoint of a company. Look, every big company and even small companies should have this, but big companies have a lot of them, and I've always called them bean counters. And those bean counters are sitting there on a daily basis, figuring out how to save this company money. And if the robot becomes cheaper than the person, because that's been the hurdle, is robots are expensive. They're expensive to install, they're expensive to maintain,
and then expensive to program. But here's what's happening all at the same time. This phone that I just got has as much storage as a laptop that I bought 3 years ago.
Right.
right? We're hitting a point where the wages that are being commanded by people at the stores are going up at the same time where the price of the machines are coming down.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
So they're starting. We're starting to arrive at a tipping point where a business like White Castle, that is all corporately family owned, it's been in the same family for generations, goes, we can't. Some of our stores have to close at 8 o'clock. We have a primary customer that starts showing up at 10:30. They can't buy from us. And we only need one guy to run the store if we put in these robots. So what I was saying is serious. Is like there have been coffee shops and other places that I go in town. They're closed at 4 o'clock because there's no staff. And if you can, because it takes 2 or 3 people to maintain a coffee shop or whatever. Well, if that all gets replaced by robots, and you need one guy.
Well, think again, and this is especially when you consider the advancement and lower cost of not only the physical technology, like an arm flipping burgers, but the AI that's attached to it. And artificial intelligence, I'm not talking about Skynet. I'm talking about programs that understand how to do at least basic functions and still give you every thought. Meaning an AI that you order on your phone app saying, hey, I want a cheeseburger, but I want it without ketchup and without pickles and whatever. And that AI understands how to tell that robot not to put ketchup, not to put, you know what I mean, or whatever, and memorize your orders and do these kind of things. That's what I'm talking about. AI. Again, Amazon. How many people does Amazon today not have to hire? Because if you've ever been to one of these massive Amazon facilities, these robots flying all over the place and picking up your order and stuff like that, those are all people that don't have to pick up those orders. There are things flying out of Amazon facilities all day, every day that a person does not touch.
Right. So to kind of round out the story and close the show out, I think this is going to be a positive, and I think the revolution is going to be kind of slower than people expect. It's not going to kill as many jobs as people anticipate, but what will happen is that guy who's doing the job flipping burgers, I think there's something better out there for him. I hope there is. And I think it's going to make it easier also for people to own businesses like burger franchises because, hey, I'm just going to go buy the burger franchise, hire 2 people, a morning guy and a night guy, or 3 people and then a weekend guy. And the machines do the rest, and I just got to train 3 people, and I pay them really good money to watch, So those are my thoughts.
Again, we gotta get past that. It's fear. Because, again, the Industrial Revolution taught us that the machines take on the jobs that people don't want, okay?
Right.
You know what I mean? That people don't need to be doing or whatever, right? And McDonald's at some point in the future is going to be automated because nobody should want to work there anyway. Right? Go do something else. Don't flip burgers and you get those people, it's a learning job and you get these, yada, yada. I don't care. The fact is once the technology exists and it comes down far enough to make sense for McDonald's, Burger King, White Castle, whoever, there will be, I guarantee it'll be somewhere like California, New York City, or it'll be in Los Angeles. There'll be a Starbucks that opens up with not a single employee, that the only way that you can order a coffee is through your phone. And you will walk up to what looks probably like a decent-sized corner vending machine, right? That you walk up to and enter your PIN code, and it opens the sliding door, and there's your coffee, right?
Right.
And it's just basically a massive vending, and they'll pay for that corner, right?
Yeah.
But it'll all be back in. You won't need to talk to anybody, because here's the reality. You want to know something else that's changed in psychology in the last 40 or 50 years? You don't want to talk to anyone. Right?
That's so true.
So if you can order your coffee, if you can order your groceries, if you can order your cheeseburgers, not talk to a person, not look a person in the eye when you pick up your mega cheeseburger with your extra bacon and your 3 extra french fries because you gotta love them and you want some for later on tonight when you feel way too fat and ashamed to go back and get some more. You don't want to look that 17-year-old kid in the eye and him know that you know that he knows that you're super fat and you got those extra fries for later. Okay,
Yeah.
you don't want that. Nobody does. We know it.
That
Again,
feels more
panini.
personal more than universal, but okay.
The panini has taught us again.
Yeah.
How many people have? My wife has not stepped in a grocery store in probably a year. Right. Once
By
they
the
started
way,
bringing groceries out to your car, and you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
here goes the meet cute though. That's out right out the window. You're not going to meet a cute girl in the in the
Have you
vegetable
met a
aisle.
cute girl in the vegetable aisle?
I exclusively meet my women at car washes. So what are you going to do?
Well,
Hey,
that's rough.
right. We got to run here, but as always, I want to give you a tip of the week. And this tip of the week is really a question to the big movie studios. Why hasn't there been a Highlander reboot? And let's be even more honest, why hasn't there been a Highlander cinematic universe?
Oh my God, we found one of these that I actually understand and agree with Danny on. Oh my God, the world may be turning over. Everybody go buy lottery tickets today. Everybody, we finally found one of Danny's wisdoms that actually makes sense. Down with the Highlander franchise, down with the Highlander universe.
You're
Always
down with
nice.
it, meaning you're about it.
I'm about it, 100%.
Yeah, me too.
I want it. I want it. I want it now.
Yes.
All right,
absolutely.
folks, we'll see you next time for another of Danny's tips.